Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and as mentioned in my previous video, today we're going to look at sharpening. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select a panoramic image in order to carry out this illustration. And I'm just going to pick up the images by going and clicking on each of the boxes to select them. And at this point, I'd just like to mention that I should most of my panoramic images in portrait mode because it gives you greater flexibility in terms of the depth of your image and the size of your image. One of the other things I just want to point out that when I do a panoramic, I always do a marker, an end marker. And when I just stick my hand out in front of the lens and take another photograph, it tells me this is the end of the session. And therefore I know the number of images to pick up whenever I go to process my panorama. So whatever method you use a marker, and this marker will help you out whenever you get back to your computer. Having selected the images, and this is a panoramic view built over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And these are 8 50 megabyte files. So it's effectively 400 meg. And what I'm just going to do now is I'm going to press the import button to load them into the computer. And now with all the images in the computer, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move along to my develop module. I'm not going to make any corrections at this particular stage. What I want to do first of all is to get a base image, which is the full panoramic developed first. To do that, I'm going to press my command key, command click, and select all my images. So with all the images selected, I want to go up now and go to my photo at the top of my photo at the top of the menu, and I'm going to select a photo merge, and I'm going to select panoramic. So if I select my panorama, we're going to get up a few other indications. This one's spherical is always the first choice. I leave it on. I leave the system as it is. What I want to do is I want to fill the edges. Okay, so I've asked the computer to fill out the pixels, and what I want to do is I want to merge. And you'll see at the top of the screen, you'll see that the panoramic is processing. And in a few seconds, we should have a panoramic image. And here we go. We got ourselves a panoramic image. The first thing I'm going to do with this is, now we have it. And the reason why I didn't make any corrections previously is that if there was any tiny shift in between the couple of seconds that the photograph was taken, then we would get banding when we carried out individual corrections to the frames. So we will assemble the panoramic and make the corrections after the panoramic has been assembled. Now the panoramic is on its own frame as such and does not rely on all the other frames. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to correct the white balance. I'm just going to go down, pick something I know is grey, and the white balance is now corrected. And what I want to go down to the next part of it is I want to have a look and make sure that any lens corrections have been carried out, and it's picked up the Fujifilm. Okay, so that's fine. I'm happy with that. And I'm going to go along and I'm going to auto correct, which will effectively get my horizon straight. Okay, with that done, the next thing I want to do is I want to bring out a wee bit of detail in the sky. So I'm going to pick up my filter. I'm going to select the sky. And then, having selected the sky, I'm going to drop the exposure slightly in order to bring back some cloud detail. I think I'm going to put a wee bit of clarity in it. And that's all I'm going to do. Now that clarity is effectively a form of sharpening. And as you can see, I put very little in there. I'm not going to make any other adjustments to the sky. The sky is going to remain as it is, and therefore the sky is not going to be over sharpened in the final image. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just brush in some exposure into the rest of the image. So if I pick up the sky, I'm going to pick up the sky. Again, you might say, why is he doing that? I'm going to select the sky, but this time I'm going to invert it. Okay? And what it'll do is it'll swap to everything that has not been selected previously. And this is a handy way of getting a good even lift if you're going to adjust the exposure at the bottom, if you're going to lift your shadows and highlights. Okay, and again, if you want to add some texture and some clarity to the image at the bottom. That's it. Fine, 100%. What I now want to do is I want to effectively look at sharpening. Okay, and if I move down to my transform down to my detail, and what we're going to actually do is we're going to, first of all, by pressing the Option key and drag it right across, you will see that everything which is black is not being sharpened. And one of the things that you will notice at this particular stage is that, notice we are talking about edges, and the edges are now picked up, and I say 85-95% is fine, and the sharpening has been 40% at one radius, a detail of 25. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to place that up on the screen. So remember, the secret is we don't want to over sharpen our images. If we over sharpen our images, what actually happens is that they begin to look very unrealistic. What I'm going to do with this now is I'm just going to push it across to Photoshop. And in Photoshop, I can take this up to, what's 100%. View at actual stream size. And you can see things are pretty sharp, and you can see that the sharpness has fallen off. The sky is not affected by the sharpness at all. So this is a little harbour shot, and you can see that Ireland's in the background and we're out on the islands.